Okay, check-in time check. 8 minutos, pasado po alas 8. Okay, gabi ng Biyernes, 26 ng Enero 2024 sa gabing ito. Okay, consolidated news natin ay papasok naman, no? Okay, sa gabing ito, no? Sa ADLSNTV News online. Okay, local and international na po mga kababayan kasi maraming may mga mag-note sa akin dapat isama ko raw ang local news. Pero nakapokus ako sa international news muna, no? Okay, pansamantala muna. Okay, kasi dahil na rin sa problema mga kababayan, no? Ayan. Okay, bakit nawala? Ay. Okay na, sound din. Kahit na live din. Okay, at least sound po mga kababayan. Okay naman, no? Okay, local-locator talaga ang Facebook. Ayan. Tinanggal ang letrato ko mga kababayan, mga suki, no? Pero dito sa isa, sa YouTube, ay wala po. Tuloy-tuloy po ang ating nandiyan po ang picture. Ay, napakahalaga po yung sound po, no? Okay, lalo na tayo sa mga Muslim. Okay, dapat bawas-bawasan po ang mga litrato, no? Ayan. Itong basahin ko po, may sulat po. Naka-intro na ba ko? Wala pa, no? Okay, sa halo-halo special, opinion, balita at iba pa. Okay, sama po sa bisyo publiko, tinig ng mamamayan. Okay, karamay po sumbungan ng mamamayan. Okay, sa atin lahat mga kababayan, no? Okay. So, magandang gabi. Good evening. Lahat po ay magmamahal sa programa. Ay magandang gabi sa inyo. And then sa universal greeting natin para sa mga kapatid natin mga Muslim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, no? Okay, ang unang basahin ko, ang unang ibigay ko sa inyo, may sulat kamay. Itong ika-190 years, itong Ayala Corporation, no? Okay. 190 always Ayala. Sabi po ng sulat ito para sa lahat. Okay, yung mga investor ata, yung mga ka-part owner po ng Ayala Corporation, basahin ko, no? Okay, to our loyal customer. Okay, customer. Okay, loyal. Ako loyal ako sa Ayala mga kababayan, no? Okay, loyal ako. Okay, talaga loyal ako sa kanila. Ayala Corporation mga kababayan, no? For 190 years, okay, we have been building businesses that enable people to thrive. Short kamay lang ito, no? We consistently evolve and you were with us through challenges and triumphs. O nga, ako ay talagang okay, tubo, lugi, tabla, ay diyan pa rin ako sa kanila mga kababayan, no? Okay, kaya sinabi ko, tubo, profit, lugi, losses, and tabla. Okay, nariyan pa rin tayo, no? Okay. So, basahin po, kung ituloy natin, and then minimix nila na may salitang national language natin, no? Karangalan naming makasama kayo noon, ngayon, at sa mga susunod na daang taon. Kaya sinabi ko, tumubo, okay, lugi, at saka tabla, okay, nariyan pa rin tayo sa kanila, no? Okay. Ayan. Isang taos-pusong pasasalamat, okay, sa pagiging bahagi ng aming kwento. Ayan po mga kababayan, na always Ayala, yung last niya, hashtag always Ayala, okay, Ayala Land Incorporated, BPI, Bangko, Philippine of Bangka, okay, Bangko Philippine Islands, no? Okay, kanila yan. Bangko Philippine Island. Communication, Globe Telecom, at saka itong ASEN, Ayala Corporation, no? Health, Ayala Corporation, Logistic Ayala Corporation, Industrial Ayala Corporation, Motor Ayala po, Ayala, Motors. Okay, may mga kotse kasi. And then, ang huli, Ayala Foundation Incorporated, no? Okay, basahin ko uli. Okay, para maintindihan lahat, no? Ayala Corporation, 190 years always Ayala, no? Habang panahon po ang negosyo ito mga suki, no? Okay, for 190 years, we have been building businesses that enable people to thrive. Okay, we consistently evolve, and you were with us through challenges and triumph. Karangalan po namin makasama kayo noon, ngayon, at sa mga susunod na daang taon. Okay? Isang taos-pusong pasasalamat sa pagiging bahagi ng aming kwento po. Okay. So, ibig sabihin kung may mga part owner po ng pamagitan po ng mga investment, ay part kayo ng kwento po ng Ayala Group of Companies, no? Okay, hashtag always Ayala, Ayala Land Incorporated, Bangko Philippine Island, Globe Telecom, ASEN, Ayala Corporation, Heart Ayala Corporation, Logistic Ayala Corporation, Industrial Ayala Corporation, Motor, Ayala Foundation Incorporated, mga suki, no? So, yan po ang sinulat kamay. Pag alam mo pag mga sulat kamay yan, okay, talagang ay pagkuan yan, no? Okay, pag talagang pagpatatag ng loob natin, okay, sa ilalim po ng negosyo ng Ayala Group of Companies, mga kababayan, no? Ako nga lang mag-divested lang ako ng kunting pera para idagdag po puhunan, mga kababayan. Para idagdag at saka maraming mga kailangan po na igastusan, mga kababayan, no? Hindi ibig sabihin tanggalin yon, hindi. Magbawas lang. Mag-divest lang kasi ipuput up din sa mga passive income, mga kababayan, no? Ayan. So, loyal tayo sa Ayala Corporation, no? Okay, loyal kasi Yan po magbigay ng kabuhayan. Okay, yung mga realty properties nila mga kababayan, yan ang magbigay sa atin. Okay, ng buhi-buhi natin araw-araw po mga sul. Araw-araw tayo gagastos, araw-araw magasolina, araw-araw magkain, magbayad ng kuryente, magbayad ng tubig, magbili ng miscellaneous, magbili ng pagkain, doon tayo nakakuan. Okay, doon tayo humugot po ng panggastos natin araw-araw mga suki, no? Para matatag na po Ayala Corporation mga kababayan, no? Ayan. Sige po mga kababayan, no? Salamat. Okay, sa 98 Barangay dito sa Zamboanga, magandang gabi sa inyo. Buenas noches con todos. Okay, con poblanos de Zamboanga mga kababayan, no? Ayan. Desyonal minutos, pasado na po alas 8 ang time check natin, no? Ano namang susunod natin itong ICJ mga kababayan, no? Okay, itong genocide case. Ayan. Tingnan nga natin ang genocide case. Okay. Ito. Live ba ito? Okay.
Following the attack of 7 October 2023 has resulted in a large number of deaths and injuries, as well as massive destruction of homes, the forcible displacement of the vast majority of the population, and extensive... Friday
pala ngayon, no?
While figures relating to the Gaza Strip cannot be independently verified, recent information indicates that 25,700 Palestinians have been killed. Over 63,000 injuries have been reported. Over 360 housing units have been destroyed or partially damaged, and approximately 1.7 million persons have been internally displaced.
Ikat-cut lang natin, no? Wala akong picture sa kwan, no?
The court takes note
Tinanggal ng Facebook.
Ayan ang picture ko. By the United Nations
Secretary
General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator, Mr. Martin Griffiths, on 5 January 2024. I quote, "Gaza has become a place of death and despair. Families are sleeping in the open as temperatures plummet. Areas where civilians were told to relocate for their safety have come under bombardment. Medical facilities are under relentless attack. A public health disaster is unfolding. Gaza has simply become uninhabitable. Its people are witnessing daily threats to their very existence while the world watches on." End of quote. Following a mission to North Gaza, the World Health Organization reported that as of 21 December 2023, I quote, "An unprecedented 93% of the population of Gaza is facing crisis levels of hunger with insufficient food and high levels of malnutrition." End of quote. The court further notes the statement issued by the Commissioner General of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East, or UNRWA, Mr. Philippe Lazzarini, on 13 January 2024. I quote, "It's been 100 days since the devastating war started, killing and displacing people in Gaza following the horrific attacks that Hamas and other groups carried out against people in Israel. It's been 100 days of ordeal and anxiety for hostages and their families. In the past 100 days, sustained bombardment across the Gaza Strip caused the massive displacement of a population that is in a state of flux, constantly uprooted and forced to leave overnight, only to move to places which are just as unsafe. This war affected more than 2 million people, the entire population of Gaza. Many will carry lifelong scars, both physical and psychological. The vast majority, including children, are deeply traumatized. Overcrowded and unsanitary UNRWA shelters have become home to more than 1.4 million people. They lack everything, from food to hygiene to privacy. People live in inhumane conditions where diseases are spreading, including among children. They live through the unlivable with the clock ticking fast towards famine. The plight of children in Gaza is especially heartbreaking.
Huwag kayo alis, ha?
An
Huwag
entire
kayo alis.
generation of
Pakinggan nyo.
children is traumatized and will take years to heal. Thousands have been killed, maimed, and orphaned. Hundreds of thousands are deprived of education. Their future is in jeopardy with far-reaching and long-lasting consequences. The UNRWA Commissioner General also stated that the crisis in Gaza is, I quote, compounded by dehumanizing language, end of quote. In this regard, the court has taken note of a number of statements made by senior Israeli officials. It calls attention in particular to the following examples.
Okay, sandali lang. Break natin, no? Balikan natin yon. Okay.
On 9 October 2023, Mr. Yoav Gallant, Defense Minister of Israel, announced that he had ordered a complete siege of Gaza City, and that there would be no electricity, no food, no fuel, and that everything was closed. On the following day, Minister Gallant stated, speaking to Israeli troops on the Gaza border, I quote, "I have released all restraints. You saw what we are fighting against. We are fighting human animals. This is the ISIS of Gaza. This is what we are fighting against. Gaza won't return to what it was before. There will be no Hamas. We will eliminate everything. If it doesn't take one day, it will take a week. It will take weeks or even months. We will reach all places." End of quote. On 12 October 2023, Mr. Isaac Herzog, President of Israel, stated, referring to Gaza, I quote, "We are working, operating militarily according to rules of international law, unequivocally. It is an entire nation out there that is responsible. It is not true, this rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved. It is absolutely not true. They could have risen up. They could have fought against that evil regime which took over Gaza in a coup d'etat. But we are at war. We are at war. We are at war. We are defending our homes. We are protecting our homes. That's the truth. And when a nation protects its home, it fights. And we will fight until we break their backbone." End of quote. On 13 October 2023, Mr. Israel Katz, then Minister of Energy and Infrastructure of Israel, stated on X, formerly Twitter, I quote, "We will fight the terrorist organization Hamas and destroy it. All the civilian population in Gaza is ordered to leave immediately. We will win. They will not receive a drop of water or a single battery until they leave the world." End of quote. The court also takes note of a press release of 16 November 2023, issued by 37 special rapporteurs, independent experts, and members of working groups part of the special procedures of the United Nations Human Rights Council, in which they voiced alarm over, I quote, "discernibly genocidal and dehumanizing rhetoric coming from senior Israeli government officials." End of quote. In addition, on 27 October 2023, the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination observed that it was highly concerned about the sharp increase in racist hate speech and dehumanization directed at Palestinians since 7 October. In the court's view, the aforementioned facts and circumstances are sufficient to conclude that at least some of the rights claimed by South Africa and for which it is seeking protection are plausible. This is the case with respect to the right of Palestinians in Gaza to be protected from acts of genocide and related prohibited acts identified in Article 3, and the right of South Africa to seek Israel's compliance with the latter's obligations under the Convention. The court then turns to the condition of the link between the plausible rights claimed by South Africa and the provisional measures requested. It considers that by their very nature, at least some of the provisional measures sought by South Africa are aimed at preserving the plausible rights it asserts on the basis of the Genocide Convention in the present case, namely, the right of the Palestinians in Gaza to be protected from acts of genocide and related prohibited acts mentioned in Article 3, and the right of South Africa to seek Israel's compliance with the latter's obligations under the Convention. Therefore, a link exists between the rights claimed by South Africa that the court has found to be plausible and at least some of the provisional measures requested. The court turns next to the question of risk of irreparable prejudice and urgency. It notes that, pursuant to Article 41 of its statute, it has the power to indicate provisional measures when irreparable prejudice could be caused to rights which are the subject of judicial proceedings, or when the alleged disregard of such rights might entail irreparable consequences. However, the power of the court to indicate provisional measures will only be exercised if there's urgency in the sense that there is a real and imminent risk that irreparable prejudice will be caused to the rights claimed before the court gives its final decisions. The condition of urgency is met when the acts susceptible of causing irreparable prejudice can occur at any moment before the court makes the final decision in the case. The court must therefore consider whether such a risk exists at this stage of the proceedings. The court is not called upon for purposes of its decision on the request for the indication of provisional measures to establish the existence of breaches of obligations under the Genocide Convention, but to determine whether the circumstances require the indication of provisional measures for the protection of rights under that instrument. As already noted,
Okay, sigit ko lang, no? May balita po mga kababayan. Sanday lang. Ayan.
Male voice, lolly voice, monster voice, female voice.
Okay, sabi po rito sa nag-pop up sa aking platform na news, Pinoy na Israel Defense Forces member ay inilibing na sa Tel Aviv. So ibig sabihin nadama itong pero sundalo man. Pinoy na IDF, no? Israel Defense Forces ay miyembro ay inilibing na sa Tel Aviv, no? Hindi na yun sa Pilipinas kasi sundalo ata ng ganun talaga. Sundalo ng Israeli po mga kababayan, no? Itong Pinoy. Talagang pag magkipagbakbakan ka, talagang ganun talaga. Okay, bala yan at saka baril, no? Ayan. Okay, so ang atin na lang condolence na lang po sa pamilya ng Pinoy ito, no? Ayan. Condolence na lang natin. Okay, magkipagbakbakan So, nadali po mga kababayan, no? Kaya. So, sige. Ipagpatuloy natin.
The court cannot at this stage make definitive findings of fact, and the right of each party to submit arguments with respect to the merits remains unaffected by the court's decision on the request for the indication of provisional measures. The court recalls that, as underlined in General Assembly Resolution 96-1 of 11 December 1946, I quote, "Genocide is a denial of the right of existence of entire human groups, as homicide is the denial of the right to live of individual human beings. Such denial of the right of existence shocks the conscience of mankind, results in great losses to humanity in the form of cultural and other contributions represented by these human groups, and is contrary to moral law and to the spirit and aims of the United Nations." End of quote. In view of the fundamental values sought to be protected by the Genocide Convention, the court considers that the plausible rights in question in this proceeding, namely, the right of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip to be protected from acts of genocide and related prohibited acts identified in Article 3 of the Genocide Convention, and the right of South Africa to seek Israel's compliance with the latter's obligation under the Convention, are of such a nature that prejudice to them is capable of causing irreparable harm. During the ongoing conflict, senior United Nations officials have repeatedly called attention to the risk of further deterioration of conditions in the Gaza Strip. The court takes note, for instance, of the letter dated 6 December 2023, whereby the Secretary General of the United Nations brought the following information to the attention of the Security Council. I quote, "The healthcare system in Gaza is collapsing. Nowhere is safe in Gaza. Amid constant bombarding by the Israel Defense Forces and without shelter or the essentials to survive, I expect public order to completely break down soon due to the desperate conditions rendering even limited humanitarian assistance impossible. An even worse situation could unfold, including epidemic diseases and increased pressure for mass displacement into neighboring countries. We are facing a severe risk of collapse of the humanitarian system. The situation is fast deteriorating into a catastrophe with potentially irreversible implications for Palestinians as a whole and for peace and security in the region. Such an outcome must be avoided at all costs." End of quote. On 5 January 2024, the Secretary General wrote again to the Security Council, providing an update on the situation in the Gaza Strip and observing that, I quote, "Sadly, devastating levels of death and destruction continue." End of quote. The court also takes note of the 17 January 2024 statement issued by the UNRWA Commissioner General upon return from his fourth visit to the Gaza Strip since the beginning of the current conflict in Gaza. I quote, "Every time I visit Gaza, I witness how people have sunk further into despair, with the struggle for survival consuming every hour." End of quote. The court considers that the civilian population in the Gaza Strip remains extremely vulnerable. It recalls that the military operation conducted by Israel after 7 October 2023 has resulted inter alia in tens of thousands of deaths and injuries and the destruction of homes, schools, medical facilities, and other vital infrastructure, as well as displacement on a massive scale. The court notes that the operation is ongoing and that the Prime Minister of Israel announced on 18 January 2024 that the war, I quote, "will take many more long months." End of quote. At present, many Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have no access to the most basic foodstuffs, potable water, electricity, essential medicines, or heating. The World Health Organization has estimated that 15% of the women giving birth in Gaza Strip are likely to experience complications, and indicates that maternal and newborn death rates are expected to increase due to the lack of access to medical care. In these circumstances, the court considers that the catastrophic humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip is at serious risk of deteriorating further before the court renders its final judgment. The court recalls Israel's statement that it has taken certain steps to address and alleviate the conditions faced by the population in the Gaza Strip. The court further notes that the Attorney General of Israel recently stated that a call for intentional harm to civilians may amount to a criminal offense, including that of incitement, and that several such cases are being examined by Israeli law enforcement authorities. While such steps are to be encouraged, they are insufficient to remove the risk that irreparable prejudice will be caused before the court issues its final decision in the case. In light of the foregoing, the court considers that there is urgency in the sense that there is a real and imminent risk that irreparable prejudice will be caused to the rights found by the court to be plausible before it gives its final decision. The court concludes on the basis of the aforementioned considerations that the conditions required by its statute for it to indicate provisional measures are met. It is therefore necessary, pending its final decision, for the court to indicate certain measures in order to protect the rights claimed by South Africa that the court has found to be plausible. The court recalls that it has the power under its statute, when a request for provisional measures has been made, to indicate measures that are in whole or in part other than those requested. In the present case, having considered the terms of the provisional measures requested by South Africa and the circumstances of the case, the court finds that the measures indicated need not be identical to those requested. The court considers that, with regard to the present situation, Israel must, in accordance with its obligations under the Genocide Convention, in relation to Palestinians in Gaza, take all measures within its power to prevent the commission of all acts within the scope of Article 2 of the Convention, in particular, A, killing members of the group, B, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, C, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, and D, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. The court recalls that these acts fall within the scope of Article 2 of the Convention when they are committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part the group as such. The court further considers that Israel must ensure with immediate effect that its military forces do not commit any of the aforementioned acts. The court is also of the view that Israel must take measures within its power to prevent and punish the direct and public incitement to commit genocide in relation to the members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. The court further considers that Israel must take immediate and effective measures to enable the provision of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance to address the adverse conditions of life faced by Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Israel must also take effective measures to prevent the destruction and ensure the preservation of evidence related to allegations of acts within the scope of Article 2 and Article 3 of the Genocide Convention against members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. Regarding the provisional measure requested by South Africa that Israel must submit a report to the court on all measures taken to give effect to the order, the court recalls that it has the power reflected in Article 7
Isang oras lang tayo.
to request the parties to provide information on any matter connected with the implementation of any provisional measures it has indicated. In view of the specific provisional measures it has decided to indicate, the court can...
Okay, isang oras lang tayo, no? Okay, tama ng pag-serve isang oras. Okay, ang time check natin ay 42 minutos pasado alas 8, no?
Male voice, lolly voice, monster voice, female voice.
Ayan. Ikutin nyo natin ito, no?
That Israel must submit a report to the court on all measures taken to give effect to this order within 1 month as from the date of this order. The report so provided shall then be communicated to South Africa, which shall be given the opportunity to submit to the court its comments thereon. The court recalls that its orders on provisional measures under Article 41 of the statute have binding effect and thus create international legal obligations for any party to whom the provisional measures are addressed. The court reaffirms that the decision given in the present proceeding in no way prejudges the question of the jurisdiction of the court to deal with the merits of the case or any questions related to the admissibility of the application or to the merits themselves. It leaves unaffected the right of the governments of the Republic of South Africa and the State of Israel to submit arguments in respect of these questions. The order then states that the court deems it necessary to emphasize that all parties to the conflict in the Gaza Strip are bound by international humanitarian law. It is gravely concerned about the fate of the hostages abducted during the attack in Israel on 7 October 2023 and held since then by Hamas and other armed groups, and calls for their immediate and unconditional release. I shall now read out the operative part of the order. For these reasons, the court indicates the following provisional measures. 1. By 15 votes to 2, the State of Israel shall, in accordance with its obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in relation to the Palestinians in Gaza, take all measures within its power to prevent the commission of all acts within the scope of Article 2 of the Convention, in particular, A. Killing members of the group, B. Causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, C. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, and D. Imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Gevorgian, Judges Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Branch, Judge Ad hoc Moseneke. Against, Judge Sebatinde, Judge Ad hoc Barak. By 15 votes to 2, the State of Israel shall ensure with immediate effect that its military does not commit any acts described in point 1 above. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Gevorgian, Judges Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Branch, Judge Ad hoc Moseneke. Against, Judge Sebatinde, Judge Ad hoc Barak. By 16 votes to 1, the State of Israel shall take all measures within its power to prevent and punish the direct and public incitement to commit genocide in relation to members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Gevorgian, Judges Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judges Ad hoc Barak, Moseneke. Against, Judge Sebatinde. By 16 votes to 1, the State of Israel shall take immediate and effective measures to ensure the provision of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance to address the adverse conditions of life faced by Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Gevorgian, Judges Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judges ad hoc Barak, Masenike. Against, Judge Sabatinde. By 15 votes to 2, the State of Israel shall take effective measures to prevent the destruction and ensure the preservation of evidence related to allegations of acts within the scope of Article 2 and Article 3 of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide against members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Gevorgian, Judges Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judge ad hoc Masenike. Against, Judge Sabatinde, Judge ad hoc Barak. By 15 votes to 2, the State of Israel shall submit a report to the court on all measures taken to give effect to this order within 1 month as from the date of the order. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Gevorgian, Judges Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judge ad hoc Masenike. Against, Judge Sabatinde, Judge ad hoc Barak. I shall now call upon the registrar to read the operative part of the order in French.
Par ces motifs, la Cour indique les mesures conservatoires suivantes. 1. Par 15 voix contre 2, l'État d'Israël doit, conformément aux obligations lui incombant au titre de la Convention pour la prévention et la répression du crime de génocide, prendre toutes les mesures en son pouvoir pour prévenir la Commission, à l'encontre des Palestiniens de Gaza, de tout acte entrant dans le champ d'application de l'article 2 de la Convention, en particulier les actes suivants. A. Meurtre de membres du groupe. B. Atteinte grave à l'intégrité physique ou mentale de membres du groupe. C. Soumission intentionnelle du groupe à des conditions d'existence devant entraîner sa
Bago
destruction
maruti ang oras,
physique
tigil
totale
ako
ou
mga
partielle.
kababayan, no?
Et D. Mesures visant à entraver les naissances au sein du groupe. Pour Madame Donoghue, présidente, Monsieur Gevorgian, vice-président, Messieurs Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Youssouf, Madame Choué, Messieurs Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Madame Charlesworth, Monsieur Brand, juge, Monsieur Moseneke, juge ad hoc. Contre, Madame Seboutinde, juge, Monsieur Barak, juge ad hoc. 2. Par 15 voix contre 2, l'État d'Israël doit veiller avec effet immédiat à ce que son armée ne commette aucun des actes visés au point 1 ci-dessus. Pour Madame Donoghue, présidente, Monsieur Gevorgian, vice-président, Messieurs Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Youssouf, Madame Choué, Messieurs Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Madame Charlesworth, Monsieur Brand, juge, Monsieur Moseneke, juge ad hoc. Contre, Madame Seboutinde, juge, Monsieur Barak, juge ad hoc. 3. Par 16 voix contre 1, l'État d'Israël doit prendre toutes les mesures en son pouvoir pour prévenir et punir l'incitation directe et publique à commettre le génocide à l'encontre des membres du groupe des Palestiniens de la bande de Gaza. Pour Madame Donoghue, présidente, Monsieur Gevorgian, vice-président, Messieurs Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Youssouf, Madame Choué, Messieurs Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Madame Charlesworth, Monsieur Bram, juge, Messieurs Barak, Moseneke, juge ad hoc, contre Madame Seboutinde, juge. 4. Par 16 voix contre 1, l'État d'Israël doit prendre sans délai des mesures effectives pour permettre la fourniture des services de base et de l'aide humanitaire requis de toute urgence afin de remédier aux difficiles conditions d'existence auxquelles sont soumis les Palestiniens de la bande de Gaza. Pour Madame Donoghue, présidente, Monsieur Gevorgian, vice-président, Messieurs Tomka, Abraham, Benuna, Youssouf, Madame Choué, Messieurs Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Madame Charlesworth, Monsieur Brandt, juge, Messieurs Barak, Moseneke, juge ad hoc. Contre, Madame Sebutinde, juge. 5. Par 15 voix contre 2.
Perhaps this will help the Biden administration because, as we know behind the scenes, the US president has been urging the Israeli.
Ayan. So, sandali lang. Anong oras na? Okay, time check natin. 56 minutos na po. Pasado po alas 8. Sandali lang, no? Ayan. Okay, watch the ICJ, watch live, the ICJ deliver its judgment. Okay, sige po mga kababayan, no? Okay. Okay, dahil palabas na natin ito para matapos na. Pero pagdating kompleto na po isang oras, wala na, no?
He is, for reasons made known to me, unable to take his seat on the bench today. I would like to welcome the eminent representatives of the Republic of South Africa and the State of Israel who are in the Great Hall of Justice today. In particular, I recognize the presence of Her Excellency, Ms. Naledi Pandor, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa. I recall that on 29 December 2023, South Africa filed in the Registry of the Court an application instituting proceedings against Israel concerning alleged violations in the Gaza Strip of obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, to which I shall refer as the Genocide Convention or the Convention. The application of South Africa contained a request for the indication of provisional measures submitted with reference to Article 41 of the statute and to Articles 73, 74, and 75 of the Rules of Court. In accordance with usual practice, I shall not read introductory paragraphs of the order which set out the procedural history of the case. I shall also omit or summarize some other paragraphs. I shall therefore begin the reading of the order at paragraph 13. The court begins by recalling the present case came before it. It observes that on 7 October 2023, Hamas and other armed groups present in the Gaza Strip carried out an attack in Israel, killing more than 1,200 persons, injuring thousands, and abducting some 240 people, many of whom continue to be held hostage. Following this attack, Israel launched a large-scale military operation in Gaza, land, air, and sea, which is causing massive casualties, extensive displacement of the overwhelming majority of the population in Gaza. The court is acutely aware of the extent of the human tragedy that is unfolding in the region and is deeply concerned about the continuing loss of life and human suffering. The conflict in Gaza has been addressed in the framework of several organs and special. In particular, reservations have been adopted by the Assembly and the Security Council of the United Nations, many aspects of conflict. Is limited, as South Africa has instituted these proceedings under the Genocide Convention. The court returns to the jurisdiction. The court observes that it may indicate provisional measures only if the provisions relied on by the applicant appear prima facie to a basis on which its jurisdiction could be founded, but it need not satisfy itself with Article 9 of the Genocide Convention. The court must therefore first determine whether those provisions prima facie confer upon it jurisdiction to rule on the merits of the case, enabling it, if the other necessary conditions are fulfilled, to indicate provisional measures. Article 9 of the Genocide Convention provides, I quote, disputes between the contracting parties relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the present convention, including those relating to the responsibility of a state for genocide or for any of the other acts enumerated in Article 3, shall be submitted to the United Israel by both parties to the Genocide Convention, and neither of them has entered a reservation to Article 9 or any other provision of the Convention. The court then recalls that Article 9 of the Genocide Convention makes its jurisdiction conditional on the existence of a dispute relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the convention. A dispute is a disagreement on a point of law or fact, a conflict must hold clearly opposite views concerning the question of the performance or non-performance of certain international obligations. To determine whether a dispute exists in the present case, the court cannot limit itself to noting that one of the parties maintains the convention applies while the other denies it. Since South Africa has invoked as a basis for the court's jurisdiction the compromissory clause of the Genocide Convention, the court must also ascertain at the present stage of the proceedings whether it appears that the acts and omissions complained of by the applicant are capable of falling within the scope of that convention, ratio matura. Statements between the parties, as well as any exchanges made in multilateral settings. In so doing, it gives special attention to the author of the statement letter substance, question of form or exchange. The scope and extent of Israel's military operations in Gaza. Israel, at the resumed 10th Emergency Special Session of the United Nations General Assembly on 12 December 2023, at which Israel was represented. The representative of the United Nations stated that, I quote, the events of the past 6 weeks in Gaza have illustrated that Israel is acting contrary to its. The court notes that Israel dismissed any accusation of genocide of the conflict in Gaza in a document published by the Israeli Ministry on the website of the Israel Defense Forces on 15 December 2023 under the title, The War Against Hamas, a Matter of Fact and Law. The accusation of genocide is not just in light of the foregoing, the court considers that the parties appear to hold as to whether certain acts or omissions
Kasi na ngayon, no? Promise nila private delivery lang po yung isa. Pero problema po hindi natin maubos. Okay, kasi wala na akong oras mga kababayan, mga suki na. Ayan. At least makakuha tayo ng kahit partial lang mga kababayan, no? Okay. Tama naman public service.
male voice, monster voice, female voice.
Okay, tama na. Magpaalam na ako mga kababayan. Isang oras at saka isang minutos at 2 minutos, no? Okay, dito po sa balita natin, Consolidated News online. Okay, sa platform ng ADLSNTV News Channel. Okay, mga kababayan, mga suki-suki natin, no? Okay, dito lamang sa programa Halo-Halo Special, Opinion, Balita at iba pa. Kasama po sa Serbisyo Publiko, Tinig ng Mamamayan. And then, sumbungan ng mamamayan, no? Okay, mga kaserbisyo. Okay, may grupo tayo, no? Kaserbisyo. Okay, sa lahat-lahat na, no? Magmula dito sa atin, South Cotabato, Jar Santos, nga, pati doon, at saka itong Cotabato City po, mga kababayan, no? So hanggang dito muna, okay, ang balita natin sa Halo-Halo Special Opinion, Balita at iba pa. Kasama po sa Serbisyo Publiko, Tinig ng Mamamayan at saka sumbungan ng mamamayan. Okay, wala tayong masamang tinapay, no? Okay, yun po ang narinig natin po ang decision po ng sabi kasi rito, the ICJ, International Criminal Justice, delivered its judgment. Okay, sa kaso ito, mga kababayan, no? Okay, tama na. Ito po, mga kababayan. Okay, this has been Abs-Namahan lamang po sa gabing ito, mga kababayan, no? So, weekend report, balik ako by Monday po, mga kababayan. Inshallah. Okay, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, no? Okay. Magandang gabi sa inyo. Okay. Good evening po sa lahat. Ayan. Kaserbisyo. Okay, kaserbisyo po, mga kababayan, no? Kaserbisyo tayo. Okay, paano? Bye-bye na.